What's up, overtime garagers? We're back in the garage working overtime. This is an 09 Nissan Altima, and I'll give you one guess what we're working on. That's the passenger side CV axle, and I'm right in the middle of it, but thought I would take a minute and show you how I did this. So step one is you got to take that wheel off, but before you do that you want to break this big axle nut here. So the way I'll do that is pop the center cap out of that, which in this case I had to take the wheel off and then push it from the back so I didn't ruin it. It's a nice little pretty cap. So took the wheel off, popped that out, put the wheel back on, and then used a big breaker bar and also a cheater, which I don't know where I set it. I usually use a jack handle as my cheater bar, so they come off pretty easily, and then add that to it. That helped in this case. And then I took the brake caliper off. I'm actually going to do the brakes at the same time, so I took the caliper away from the bracket. So there's two bolts here on the brake, and then two bolts back here that go to the spindle. So I took all those apart so I could do the brakes. At some point you got to take the rotor off, and so I got all that stuff free. And then with the nut loose, that still won't come out without taking either these two bolts out and then tipping the spindle outward, or the way I did it is took the bottom nut out. I don't know which way is better, but if I did them both I'd find I like one more than the other, but neither of them are too wildly difficult. I left the tie rod attached and had enough room to pull that out. When I went to pull this axle, as you'll notice, there's a extended portion of this to get over to the transmission, and the way I'm looking at it is this is the wheel side, this is the transmission side. It comes out pretty smooth here, but it won't come out of this too easily sometimes, and in this case I took the 4 bolts out, take the bracket out with it because it was pretty stuck in there, and I whacked on a little bit and I was afraid it was going to break this aluminum bracket. So I sprayed a little penetrating fluid in there, and then I took a small sledgehammer, that size, I think it's 4 pound, maybe it's less, 2.5, I don't know. I smacked on that while kind of holding this, and after I took a swing at this just to knock it free, send a shock through this bracket, just kind of jar it loose, and then smacked on this side. Came out pretty smooth after that. So be careful, don't break the bracket. That's something you don't want to have to replace. It looks expensive and hard to locate. But now that that's out, then what we'll do is slide well, actually I'll probably bolt this in place and then slide the axle through there and kind of work it into place, tap it in place. Inside here, I'll give you a look kind of inside here. This bracket goes right there. And there's some little locator pins on the back side of it. Right there and right there. So you know which way it goes. You can see the transmission over on the far side there. There's also a retainer to hold that middle part of the axle in place so it don't slip out. Okay, nothing much more to it. Okay, an alternate way to put this in, if you try to slide that CV axle in there, it just won't quite go because the bearing is pretty wide, so it's easy for it to get hung up on this carrier. So I took it out, and you can access all the bolts. Some of them are kind of difficult to get around some of the stuff in here, but with some creative socketry and universal joints or box end wrenches, you can get to all of them. They're not too bad. So just showing you that. Now we'll throw this in. This side has no C-clip, so it slides in pretty easily. Shouldn't be too bad from here.